What's going on, guys? Welcome back to ETB Boxing, where we tell the story behind every punch and every fight. Have you ever stopped to consider the level of opposition Canelo Álvarez has faced throughout his illustrious career? And yet not once has he ever been knocked down or stopped. Canelo has one of the best chins in boxing history, it seems. That's not just opinion, there's evidence. When people think of classic Mexican boxing, they think of warriors, tough fighters who can walk through the fire and take a punch to give one. I believe Canelo has evolved that image. He's crafted a hybrid style, part traditional Mexican pressure, part slick head movement, and an emphasis on defense. But even with all that finesse, he still honors the Mexican boxing traditions. He still honors the Mexican boxing tradition and granite chin and unshakable toughness. Now, Jim Lampley recently shared some insight into what might be the secret behind Canelo's chin and how he's developed that legendary durability. But let's put it into perspective. Let's talk about Gennady Golovkin. Even in his toughest decision wins, like against Daniel Jacobs or Sergey Derevyanchenko, Golovkin still scored knockdowns. That means only one man went a full 36 rounds with Triple G and never hit the canvas. That man is Canelo Álvarez, and now some people believe Terence Crawford is going to stop Canelo. If that happens, it won't be just a win. It'll be a historical moment. It'll be a moment where Terence Crawford will become legendary. Let's hear what the legendary Jim Lampley has to say about Canelo's chin.
Brutalizes your arms.
He's another brilliant guy. He has the greatest punch resistance in the sport. You know, we talked about it earlier. One knockout in the whole career.
Knockdown.
And it wasn't a knockdown. And it wasn't really a knockdown in my personal view. So, because he didn't touch the canvas. He's never been on the canvas. And we call it chin. And I think that we kind of missed the point by calling it chin. Because I used to be Canelo's neighbor in Del Mar, California. Used to run into Chepo, his senior trainer, at the grocery store. I'd look into the cart and say, "Oh, he's eating tuna." And he said, "Yes, and he's eating chicken." And so I also used to go down the hill from my house off of Via della Valle in Del Mar and watch him train at the Equestrian Center, where he would go to the Equestrian Center in the morning and do 2.5 hours of hunter-jumper riding before going to his gym in the afternoon to do 3.5 hours of boxing training.
Hunter-jumper riding? What is that?
Hunter-jumper is where you go over jumps and you...
With a horse?
Yeah, on the horse, yeah.
Why the fuck would you do that when you're training for a fight? What if the horse falls?
He was riding horses since he was a little kid. He was skilled enough to do it. You controlled the height of the jumps. You say set the jumps at 36 inches or 40 inches. You know what the horse can do. It's all about staying on the horse. And I asked him, you know, how can you do that? And he said, everything I do in boxing is upper body, and everything I do on the horse is lower body. And on that basis, I am the one who theorizes that the reason you can't knock him down is not because of his chin, it's because of his legs.
His base.
You can't get him off balance. He's too strong from the waist down. And, if other fighters would pay attention to what Canelo does, they might go do a little horseback riding.
I wasn't even aware of that until you brought that up. That's incredible.
There he is with his horses.
Wow. That completely makes sense if you think about it. Squeezing with the lower legs.
Well, Jim Lampley definitely gave us some unique insight into how and why Canelo Álvarez has developed the kind of boxing beard that's allowed him to thrive in this violent, beautiful sport without ever touching the canvas. That's rare, that's special. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Terence Crawford can knock down or even stop Canelo Álvarez? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one of them. And if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and click like and subscribe to stay locked in with ETB Boxing. That's the bunch, that's the story, and that's ETB Boxing.